Welcome everyone to another patch overview by Age of Noob. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this quick summary of the long list of changes. First, let's talk about the general changes. Co-op campaigns are finally here. We can only play 5 historical battles for now, but the developers' plan is to release 33 missions across 6 campaigns. This includes Salahuddin, Attila the Hun, Alaric, Tariq ibn Ziyad, Surya of Arman I, and Tamerlane. You can find the co-op button on the main menu, and the UI is pretty intuitive, so you should have no problems getting to this game mode. An event will run between July 6th and the 20th, in which folks who do not own Lords of the West will be able to play both the Sicilians and the Burgundians. It's a nice to have for those who have not purchased the DLC just yet. More importantly, Empire Wars finally gets its own ranked ladder. Both 1v1 and team game Empire Wars ladder will begin, as usual, at 1000 ELO. The developers have also mentioned that they are working on the inflated and quite frankly broken team game ladder for regular games, so we'll have to wait and see their solution to the team game ladder mess. Furthermore, for those of you who are using Capture Age, the UI now allows you an easier access to the application. So this is good news for all casters. Moving on, the developers have released a plethora of fixes and improvements, but I'll highlight the noteworthy ones. At long last, the developers have finally done something about the start time of the game. For those of you who have Ultra HD enabled and run the game at 4K like I do, the game took forever to load. I've tested it and I can easily say that it's about 10 times faster for me, so good job devs. The next Age performance problem seems to be fixed now, and there are many minor crash problems that the developers have also seemed to have fixed. One of the more important bug fixes were the invisible farms. Sometimes the game would not render the farms properly, making the game look weird, but also the farm unclickable in those invisible areas. Thankfully, this seems to be fixed now. There are now audio cues for the Hun unique technology, Atheism, and more importantly, a sound for the First Crusade, Cuman Mercenaries, and Flemish Revolution. Here's how they sound. This is a welcome change, especially for the First Crusade and Flemish Revolution, given the shock factor that they caused in the game. There are a ton of UI fixes implemented, but there are a few that stick out as important ones. First of all, buildings will now display their melee and pierce armor. Most of us intuitively know how tanky buildings are, but this is nevertheless a great tweak for that extra little bit of detail. From a gameplay perspective, the developers have introduced quite a few changes as well. The noteworthy ones are, monks can no longer drop relics on themselves, making them invulnerable to melee attacks. Villagers now automatically gather deep sea fish when they reach the shore after building a nearby drop site. Fishing ships now automatically start working in Empire Wars, and kings can now be issued a follow command using hotkeys. One massive change in my opinion is that the developers fixed a legacy issue where it was possible to remove chopped straggler trees with foundations distantly. Now the foundation construction has to be started in order to remove the tree. This is important as folks sometimes lamed their opponents' stragglers from afar, and I'm referring to those that are around the town center. I think this is a welcome change that was already overdue. Here are some more changes. Fixed an issue where castles would reset their attack priorities after training a unit. Fixed an issue where command queues would not work correctly when tasking sergeants to build multiple donjons. Skirmishers and units with multiple projectiles now add the correct amount of extra projectiles to fortifications when garrisoned inside them. They are referring to the Chukonus or the Kipchaks in this scenario. Fixed a legacy issue where farmers only work on the left side of the farm, and now they work in the middle of the farm. What's important here is that we may need to test whether or not this affects the efficiency of the farmers or not. I really doubt it, but it's something noteworthy that we might want to look into. Fixed a legacy issue where dolphins could be deleted by placing foundations on top of them. Honestly, I don't know who even did this. Finally, regarding pathfinding, villagers now take pathing distance into account when selecting their nearest drop-off site instead of just tile distance. Villagers no longer retreat 2 tiles away from specific gate rotations when tasked to construct another building. Improved how vast amounts of villagers path through narrow spaces. And fixed an issue where military units sometimes ignored queued attack comments via shift-click. I really hope that this is true because this has been broken for what seems like an eternity. There have been many other changes to map balances, AI, scenario editor, and other bug fixes, but none of them were too noteworthy to mention in this particular video. Finally, there have been some small number of changes to the civilization balances, but they're identical to the video that I've already done a few weeks back. If you're curious as to what balance changes were done to the Persians, Turks, Burgundians, and the Slavs, as well as the hand cannoneers and cavalry archers in particular, please either click the suggested video now, at the link in the description below, or at the end of this video. Overall, this seems like a great patch with a ton of bug fixes, improvements, and finally an Empire Wars ranked ladder. I hope this patch is stable and runs smoothly, but if there are any issues or unintended bugs, you bet we will cover it here at Age of Noob. Please make sure you do subscribe to not miss any of that content or any future Age of Empires 2 or 4 videos. Well, that's pretty much it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this summary. Explore the co-op campaign mode, best of luck in the Empire Wars ladder, and see you all in the next one.